So I wanted to show you how I start these projects. And it always starts with the brainstorm. And so what I do is I usually will use either lined paper or graph paper to kind of make my initial cut. And obviously super accurate circle there, right? And then once I have an idea, a general idea of the size, then I do some testing to see what I really like. And I do that with cardstock. I can make a really crisp cut. I cut these on my Cricut, though you could cut it by hand, and just, made it easy and clean. And then I test it in the space. And then I kind of see like visually which one feels right. And this is kind of what I do in my house too, when I'm like, building something or decorating or whatever, just take a step back, look at it, see. So I did these two. This would be equivalent to a 7-foot table. And then this would be equivalent to a 6, I think, or 6.5. I think 6. So this is the one that I went with. Now when it came to the base, I did the same thing. I just cut up strips and I just wrapped it around like this. So I did this, I did 3 dimensions. I started with the first 2, and then by just looking at the first 2, I already knew I didn't need the third. I just folded it around the bottle and taped it. And then I did this one as well, which is now covered in different kinds of wood. So I had these pre-cut sticks. I thought, oh, it'd be great to use these and just snip off, the length. However, they're not at all even. They're very twisty. They're different sizes. So then I started cutting them a little bit more precisely with my laser. I cut real wood, or, cut sheets of wood. So then I wanted to be more precise, and so I cut them at 3 millimeters and 2 millimeters, and then glued them on to kind of gauge what I like. Now you'll see that this is very warped, and that's mostly because I used Elmer's glue. It's very wet, and I wasn't really being very, precious about it. So obviously I would not use the Elmer's glue when I'm actually finalizing it, not on cardstock. But yeah, so this is how I came up with it. These are my samples. And so then what I did was I realized I had some toilet paper and, bath tissue rolls like that I had set aside. So I grabbed one of those, and these are essentially the same size, give or take. And this is a little bit firmer, right? And it's already a brown color, so I don't have to worry about painting it or using cardstock. I actually don't have cardstock that's brown. It's so weird. Where's my brown cardstock? But anyway, that's why I use these. I couldn't find brown or like whatever. Since this is paper towel roll, it's already brown and it's a little bit firmer. It's a little bit firmer. And so this is what we went with. And I wanted to use this size. So I started gluing it. Boom. So now you're caught up. Caught up. Okay, let's go. These pieces are just stuck inside the thing, and since I only have one hand, I can't pull them out while I'm filming, but they're there. Okay. So I'm switching it up. Instead of the wood glue, which is a little bit wetter, I'm going to do this, which dries faster. This one has a 10 to 15 second setting time. So that's like how much time you have to get your stuff into position and, have it locked in. I'm just prepping it. Okay. And I'm going to see if this application is any easier, because this is a lot of pieces I have to put on, and with the wood glue it takes longer to dry. And so what's happening is I'm finding that it is settling and still sliding around longer than I want it to instead of like sticking. So there are areas that look like there's gaps because the burnishing, so when it gets cut by the laser sometimes, I think it's called burnishing. You see how it darkens there? I don't need to sand it, but you can kind of see there. But I think it plays into the fluting look. There is one gap though because it started to lean crooked, and I have a gap right here because I twisted a couple of them twisted on accident. And so I might just leave that and turn it the opposite way, or try and kind of shim one of these pieces in and then just cut it. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, so pardon the mess. This is what it looks like off camera. Hee hee, not great. So I made the round. You guys would have just probably seen the laser cutting this. This is a thicker piece of wood. I thought it's about 1/4 of an inch. I thought that would be a better vibe to kind of match the chunky base and make it feel and look more substantial. So I don't know if it's going to actually go here. I'm still not sure how I feel about placement. So I just sanded the edges and the top. I could probably use do a bit more, but you can already see the difference when is that in the center? I thought I wanted to go dark, but now I'm not sure. So I might have to do some stain testing to see what I like better. But yeah, this is where we are. Let's pull these these chairs. I'm gonna find something to do with these chairs. It's just they're not necessarily intended for my dining table in this space. So I've already done the pre-stain. I did the wood conditioner pre-stain and sanded. And a 1 coat of the classic penetrating wood stain, so it's oil. English Chestnut by Varathane. And I've sanded it again, and we're gonna do another coat. So I tend to love gel stain. However, unfortunately, in my area, I don't always have access to all the different colors of gel stain that we do of oil and water-based stain. And in this case, this particular version of English Chestnut, I just haven't been able to find in a good gel. The reason I like gel is because it's richer and thicker, and so often the color turns out richer. And so what I'm going for with this is kind of one of the classic mid-century colors. Now there are some darker ones and obviously lighter ones as well, but I'm also competing with the color of my flooring and other things that I know I have planned for that will also be wood toned. I'm certainly okay with mixing the tones, but I also want to make sure it still feels and looks very cohesive. So that's what we're doing there. So then we're just going to let that dry. And then I have the base, which I've done a pre-stain color on. And then we're going to do this. And then we're going to let that sit and dry. And then depending on how it dries, we'll do another coat if necessary. Okay, so this is the table. And I still need to do a top coat. But yeah, this is I love it. I love it. Now, I am still going through the motions with the chair. I had a very specific style of chair that I wanted, and creating it is proving to be annoying right now. So we shall see. Chair is TBD. I'm going to be honest with you. I have not attached it to the top yet. I need to do a top coat, and it'll just be easier to get both pieces before I attach it. But that's what it's looking like, and frankly, I love it. So, let's see it from the kitchen side. I'm in the kitchen cooking. Look at my table. Okay. I did initially start it with a stain and a couple of stains actually I tested, and they ended up being either similar to my flooring or too contrasting, like not contrasting but not in a great way. So I went with this, and this gives us, I think, what I want. It's what it called for. Yeah. So it is still drying. That's why it's like shiny and glossy in some places and not so much in others, but I think it might work.